Heads up, this was made back in 24th of April 2021. I've been procrastinating on this for a while now. So this volcano will probably be centered around icebergs at that time when it was made. So it's going to reflect that in the certain entries and exclamations. I might give a bit of an updated look on some of the entries, but out of that, it's probably going to be accurate to the time period when it's made. Why not go back and edit the image? I'm too lazy. Plus, I don't have access to Photoshop anymore. This was my answer to icebergs as a kind of a funny thing. Instead of doing like an iceberg video, I make my own format parodying the iceberg. So I came up with Volcano. I made this image like a year ago, and now I'm learning a different editing software that was free. So bear with me if the editing's up to standard. I'm still learning the program. On another note, let me give you the knowledge on what a Volcano chart is. Probably now asking yourself what the hell is a volcano is. Let me explain to you, because I have to explain it because I invented it. So I am 100% justified. Unlike the start of iceberg videos, I probably think it's the first one. This is the first one, so I'm completely justified in giving you an explanation. A volcano is kind of like an iceberg, but instead of the entries being more obscure, spooky, or dark, the further down you go. A volcano is structured in a different way, so it's topics that are more hot, spicy, or active go down bottom, or you can organize them on what the stock characters are thinking. Let me explain to you what the stock images mean. So you can have random stock images or images representing what the different layers are thinking. You can do it that way. For my example, I got the classic smile through the pain herald. So I'll go through what each of the heralds mean now. First layer, we got a close-up shot of Harold's face. Second layer is the infamous photo of Harold on his laptop drinking a drink in a mug. Third layer is Harold working out. Fourth layer is Harold eating a slice of pizza. And fifth layer is Harold reading the news being shocked because of something got invented. Insert your funny line here. After explaining that for no reason, the basic structure is that the volcano is more loosely structured, where it doesn't matter on how or a hierarchy on what stuff goes where. You can put random stuff in layers and it works. It's good for stuff if you want to do like a Wikipedia iceberg, that strange topics that it have without going too more dark and obscure. You just want to put brass knuckles and cock and ball torture. You can have it on the same layer, as you don't have to do it. You can just grab it as many interesting Wikipedia articles. So with that explanation out of the way, let's get into the first ever volcano, the volcano iceberg, or the iceberg volcano. Don't know which way it's gonna go, but let's get started with the first entry. Layer 1, close-up image of Harold. How deep does it go? This entry refers to the saying how deep it goes. So this is like one of the catchphrases associated with this iceberg videos or iceberg charts. Awareness for the ice caps melting. This entry refers to the rumor that the iceberg charts were made to raise awareness for the polar ice caps melting due to climate change. Abridged icebergs. This entry refers to icebergs videos that don't usually have the full iceberg or a edited version of it, for it's more smaller due to video flow, or they don't want to cover certain joke or spooky entries. Another type of abridged iceberg is where they talk about some topics but not all of it, just the broad basic headlines and not the whole iceberg, just those topics and that's it. Multiple parts. This entry is pretty self-explanatory. It's just when icebergs are being split up in multiple parts. It could be done for a variety of reasons. People will choose to do this. One will be they don't want to upload like a 5-hour long video, so they decide to split the iceberg into parts. Secondly, have like two sections of the iceberg where they cover it more thoroughly, saying like one part is just layer 1 and 2, and then the next one is layer 1 and 4, for it's easier. That ties into the third reason. For time reason, it's easier to work on 2 parts than doing the full thing once and then releasing it, and plus it's good for the pacing. The fourth one is they want to go in-depth detail with every entry on the iceberg. A good example of the last one is Windigoon's Conspiracy Theory iceberg. It was how much detail he went with the layers. The parts, how many parts there are, is insane. That's multiple parts, and that's the end of tier 1 for the volcano. On to tier 2. Layer 2, Harold's menacing computer time. Mario 64 iceberg. This entry refers to the original Mario 64 iceberg video done by Miss Kosh. This was like one of the first icebergs that really blew up and started the trend. There's more other Mario 64 icebergs that have been made since, and check them out maybe as well. Bonus entries. Here's one that wasn't on the original Volcano, but it's good to say that bonus entries are like entries where it's not part of the iceberg, but the creator just decides to throw it in if there's like an entry not good enough or it's interesting or relate. So that is the bonus entry. Book of Valis. Book of Valis is one of the YouTube channels I remember started making icebergs at a consistent rate, usually about cartoon shows and like two-parters. This entry refers to him. Joke entries. A joke entry is something that's a funny meme, or it's something that's so ridiculous that it shouldn't be taken seriously. So an example might be, you might have an iceberg on, I don't know, Megami Tensei, and you put Demi Kids is the hardest Megami Tensei game ever. That's an example of a joke entry. So it's usually for comedic effect. They usually, sometimes in the lower tiers, just move a bit. 7. This entry refers to the number 7. Yeah, that's pretty much it. McDonald's ECDP training game iceberg. For the rest of this entry, I'm going to refer it as the Macca's training game because it's Macca's. If you want to find me in the comment, meet me at Speeding Burger in that Mac Tonight video. You know the one. Come and fight me. The Macca's training game was a lost piece of media, and it was recently found by Nick Robinson and then released to the public shortly after a speedrunning scene for the game had come about. And then shortly after 3 days of the Macca's speedrunning thing, there was like an iceberg. The same guy, Nick Robinson, made an iceberg video covering that iceberg. So this iceberg, the Macca's ETP training guide, is on this volcano because how fast icebergs can be made after a short period of time. This one was just quick out of the oven. That's the entry. On to the next one. The depths of YouTube iceberg. This refers to the YouTube series covering the iceberg by Dylan the Night Owl. He goes really in depth with the different YouTube topics and gives a good explanation. For his other stuff, he's got a new series on the iceberg covering creepypastas. That's pretty good. He throws in like some stuff that isn't an iceberg. He does a good job of explaining the creepypastas. And for his other stuff, he has a really good long video on the Angry Video Game Nerd. And that concludes layer 2. On to the next layer. Layer 3, Harold working out. Knowledge indicator. It is a visual indicator on how confident the creator is with their exclamation on the topic. This is used in some icebergs just for, they might not be sure of a certain topic, so the knowledge indicator is there just to make that clear to the viewer. Windigoon. This is the entry I'm most nervous about, but Windigoon, there's no introduction needed. He's one of the pioneers of icebergs, and plus he makes really good other stuff explaining horror content and series as well, and weird historical events. He's a really good YouTube channel. He's most known for the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. That's a long video series covering in so much detail conspiracy theories from a huge iceberg. I will have some of his icebergs up on the screen now. Pretty good. Actually, it's moved a lot away from iceberg videos. I didn't do him justice, so go check him out. r/icebergs. This entry is pretty self-explanatory. This is a subreddit dedicated to icebergs. Pictures of iceberg images and iceberg charts are created and shared on this subreddit. Lost Media Iceberg. Lost Media Iceberg, take a pick because there's many Lost Media icebergs covering different facets. Here's some, like video games, regular Lost Media, or hoax Lost Media. Lost Media icebergs are a good way for people to find a bunch of Lost Media topics and hopefully get interested in them, and raise awareness for some Lost Media projects that might have gone underneath the radar, and hopefully one day they will be found. Gorilla Iceberg. "30 minutes to 3 hours and greater icebergs." This entry refers to iceberg videos that are long in length, talk about 30 minutes to 10 hours. Goes to show the length of icebergs and how far people go to research icebergs, being so long full of information. Like one of the longest icebergs, that's something that I already covered on the iceberg, is Windy Good's conspiracy theory iceberg. It goes for any iceberg that's past 30-minute mark, shows the value of icebergs and how much dedication one needs to have just to finish the iceberg and make it and do all the editing. Combined icebergs. Combined icebergs is where there's two different icebergs of a similar topic made by different curators, and then somebody combines both of them into one big iceberg, or takes aspects between both of them and then combines it to just cover it in one big one or one more elaborate one. Layer 4, Harold eating pizza. Long URL link that I can't be stuck reading the whole thing. So this is a long URL link that takes you to a picture of the iceberg where you can purchase it for some currency. I can show you it's not this link, but I have no idea. I have typed this whole thing out for footage, so yeah, this is just literally a link to buy the stock image of the iceberg that people use for the iceberg chart. Hey, this is just a quick addendum to the video. You see up on screen down, I searched the site, it's no longer there, no one access. But I promise you, I kept to my word. The link wasn't gonna take you to the URL link, youtube.com/d, uppercase Q, lowercase w, 4, lowercase w, 9, uppercase w, lowercase g, uppercase x, lowercase c, and uppercase q. Yeah, I just want to jump in and record just to tell you that the link no longer works. It did, so you have to take me word on it. Now back to the video. New 34. New 34 refers to the abundance of icebergs, are kind of like rule 34. So you know how rule 34 is like some not from savory stuff of any character. If it exists, there's going to be questionable stuff with it. This is for icebergs, but if there's like a brand or game or show or anything that exists, even YouTubers, there's going to be an iceberg eventually made, or it's already made. So that's how it relates to 34. So it's kind of like new 34 in a more wholesome way. The dreaded sunflower. The title's a bit of a joke, but this is referring to the YouTuber Sunflower. He makes iceberg videos, like one of the first ones to cover Mario 64 icebergs, and then he started and blew up from that. He'd also did the Splatoon iceberg, Fall Guys iceberg, and then one of his best was the creepy and disturbing PSA videos. And he also makes other stuff like the Australian work PSA one. That's a pretty good one, so he approved his content from the start when I put it on here. So a shout out to Sunflower, and this is the entry. Layer 5, Harold reading newspaper. Insert your funny line here. Do not research. Do not research is pretty self-explanatory. It's like when it's being put as a joke or it's actually pretty fucked up and you should not research it. So please don't research, do not research. This entry is off limits, so don't research this entry anymore than what I told you. Research at your own risk. Estra Edward. Estra Edwards is on this volcano because he was the guy that came up with the saying, just the tip of the iceberg. So that's why he's on here, for the great magnificent old saying of that's just the tip of the iceberg. All icebergs are structured differently from each other. All icebergs are structured differently from each other as a play on every copy of X's personal lies. But it's true, every iceberg might have different titles, mythic topic, different entries, different pictures on the side, how much layers it has, so it's technically true. Congratulations, yeah, you did it. Feel free to make your own volcano. You made it to my end of my shitty video. Congratulations. So I'm recording this after the fact that I recorded everything, so I haven't edited it. This was the day that I was supposed to have it all done, but I just did all the voice recording, and I tried to get it into a year for me actually making the volcano, but that's cool. It probably took me a while, so thanks. This is the part where I ask you and show my other stuff. So, oh yeah, I hit one shitpost in the video that you can find a link. But I recommend my top 10 bullshit facts that I didn't make up, or the video that I really have the most love for is the why you should watch that. So, out for you. Thank you for watching and have fun and have a good rest of your day.